Maybe I'm going to learn some mistakes. For high school juniors and seniors who are choosing to go to college, now is the time to prepare.
But there's been a huge shift in how the college admission process works, from the test scores to social media. There's a lot to tackle.
Stacey Ross Cohen, what does she write?
The author of Brand Up, the ultimate playbook for college and career success in a digital world. It's, wow, perfect.
I was going to say, you have two sporty spices, so we like a playbook.
I love it.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, we were just talking about Nelson, to just briefly share with the folks at home what you were saying about your daughter.
It's one thing about freshman year, right? It's another thing about then transferring to another school in your junior year. So there's a lot of trepidation, new school, that whole kindergarten feeling all over again of having to meet new people, the whole new staff, and a whole new team, because she's a gymnast as well. So yeah, there's a lot of nerves going on, and it's Labor Day weekend.
Yes, incredibly stressful time for kids and their parents.
Yeah. The college admissions process, I feel like, has changed, because even when we were applying, you never transferred.
No.
You went to your school. This is in the 90s. You went to your school and that's it.
Right.
It might have been a little different for athletes, but that's just one big change for the college admissions process. Can you talk to broad strokes? You know, give us the 10,000 above look.
So college admissions has become so much more holistic. You know, test scores, grades, of course they matter, but there's so much more now. So colleges are looking at the character of an individual. Is this student going to be a good fit on campus? And then you also have acceptance rates are declining, and a lot of the schools are test optional. So the competition is intense, and you really need to stand out. Teens need to get an edge. And then on top of all of this, the majority of admission officers are looking at social media for the applications as part of the decision-making process. So then you have to consider social media deserves as much attention as the college essay.
Can we get into that? Because
listen, and that's something I always tell a lot of the athletes that I train. You have to be careful what you post out there. So talk about social media and how that's being looked at, like you said, as much as the college essay. Wow.
Oh, there's no doubt, because again, colleges are looking for kids with good behavior. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Harvard 10.
Sure.
So about probably like 7 years ago, Harvard accepted 10 kids. And to get into Harvard is not easy.
Yes.
It's a 3% acceptance rate. So if you consider these kids, they got in, they got their golden ticket, and then what happened is that they formed a Facebook group, some bad behavior, racist remarks, bullying, and all of their admissions were revoked. So what it shows us is that smart kids are not always smart on social media.
That's right. So what can students do with their social media profiles? Because for me, I remember with my own son, I was like, whatever looks even potentially unsavory, get it out of your profile, remove it from your grid. But is there a way to use it to your advantage if you're a student?
Yes, absolutely. And the problem is that a lot of teens tend to get nervous with showing off social media, and that's what I want to teach them, how to use social media as to your advantage. Teens tend to hide online, but you want to get noticed. So the first step is always a cleanup and get rid of dormant files,
profiles, or posts.
Right, exactly. And you really want to make sure to put everything past, present, and future through what I call the PURE test. So it's positive, unbiased, respectful, and ethical.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Well, I used to just say, what would my mama say about this?
Right, or your grandma, right?
But yeah,
yes,
what would mom say if she saw that I posted this?
Right.
That's one of the biggest things. What can students do to make sure their applications get brought right to the top of the pile?
Great question. They need to stand out. And here's the essence of it all. You need to be able to answer the question, why choose you, right? So that takes, which teens aren't great at doing, it takes some self-awareness, right? They need to dig deep. They have to figure out what are their superpowers. But equally important is, because we all have blind spots, they have to understand how others perceive of them.
I mentioned I have a sophomore, and I did start thinking about his college admissions process last year. I didn't say anything to him, but I was thinking about it. Do you have a breakdown of year by year what students should be doing or could potentially be doing, so it's not September of their senior year and they're suddenly like, oh my goodness,
Maybe I
now
should try
what?
this.
Right, and you don't want to wait until the 11th hour. That is for certain. So yeah, break down 9th grade. You really, that's when you want to self-reflect, right? And you want to figure out, you know, what is your unique value? What is it that you can bring to the college campus? And I think you just have to start being mindful about what you're posting even in 9th grade.
Right.
But the important thing about high school, there's so much stress put on these kids. Like, it's a time to explore, figure out what your interests are. You know, what are you passionate about? Because that's going to drive you.
Right. And then sophomore year, I think you said, can we see that graphic again? It was development, and then I think my son junior year, I was like, all right, dude, big school, small school.
Yeah,
Out
right?
west, northeast. And the only thing he said to me was either in a city or close to a city. And I was like, I'll work with that. I can work with that.
Yes,
Right.
yes. And so I would say the sophomore and junior year are pretty similar, because you want to develop assets, right? So it's typical, if you think about a regular college application, you get your recommendation letters, but you want to think out of the box. And again, you want to play to your talents. If you're an aspiring artist, you know, you want to be on Instagram or Pinterest, or if you want to go into broadcast,
Right.
you want YouTube. But you also want to think about what is going to set you apart. So,
And
for
using
example,
and using social media to its advantage. The time has flown by. We're going to have to invite you back.
yes, 100%. Would love it. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if you want more information, grab a copy of Stacy's book, Brand Up, wherever books are sold.